like to welcome you to the 2020 Minnetonka State of the City event. I'm Geraldine Baroni. I'm the Minnetonka City Manager. And I want to welcome all of you this morning, including our Minnetonka Rotarians and Twin West Chamber members. We'll have a few highlights from these groups this morning, followed by a presentation from Mayor Brad Wiersum regarding the state of the city of Minnetonka. Hopefully you've had a chance to spend some time in the back and look at the displays that our city staff and chat with them. And they will stay for a few minutes afterwards. And to start, I'd like to take a minute to recognize our attending officials. First of all, I'd like to recognize the Minnetonka City Council. And council members, if you are here, as I read your names, either stand or if you're in the back, give a wave. So, of course, Mayor Brad Wiersum. Councilmember Deb Calvert, who is at our at-large seat A council member. Susan Carter, at-large seat B. Brian Kirk, Ward 1 council member. Rebecca Shack, Ward 2 council member. Bradley Sheppy, Ward 3 council member. And Kizzy Coakley, Ward 4 council member. Also, our city leadership is joining us today, and most of them, I think, are standing in the back. Assistant City Manager and Director of Administrative Services, Mike Funk. City Attorney, Corrine Heine. Finance Director, Darren Nelson. Police Chief, Scott Boerboom, way in the back. Fire Chief John Vance. Public Works Director Will Manchester. Recreation Services Director Kelly O'Day. And Community Development Director Julie Wishnock. We also have a number of our state legislative representatives here. Senator Paul Anderson, Representative Patty Acom. And just a shout out to Patty, she's a former city council member here. Back on home territory, Senator Steve Swadzinski. Representative Lori Pryor. Senator Melissa Franzen. And Representative Steve Elkins. We also have today Hennepin County Commissioner Jan Callison, who also happens to be our former mayor. The Metropolitan Council member, District 3, Christopher Ferguson. Representing Congressman Dean Phillips, his Chief of Staff, Zach Rodval. We have also some school board members, Hopkins School Board member Steve Adams and Jen Bouchard. I'm not sure if you have any others here. And, oh yeah, she was next. Hopkins Superintendent, Hopkins Superintendent Dr. Rhoda Mirapiri-Reed. And then I'm not sure if we have any Minnetonka or Wayzata school board members here as well. If you are, please stand. Okay, thank you. They also, we are part of those districts as well. And did I miss any elected officials? Okay. Hopkins Mayor, Jason Gadd, of course. Welcome, Mayor. Thank you, thank you. I'd also like to welcome our resident volunteers who very graciously serve on our advisory boards and commissions. So I'm just going to have you rise as I recognize your group. The first group is the Minnetonka Planning Commission. So please stand. Next is the Minnetonka Park Board. I thought I saw Elena, yes. The Economic Development Advisory Commission. Our Senior Advisory Board. Yay. And our Charter Commission. I'd also like to give a shout out to Micaiah Ryberg on my staff, our assistant to the city manager, who helped organize this event. And also city staff for providing the displays. And again, make sure you spend some time checking it out if you haven't already. So to start our program, I'd like to, I'm pleased to introduce Stacy Quinn. She is the president of the Minnetonka Rotary Club, and she's just going to take a couple of minutes to provide some club highlights for you. Stacy.
Excellent. Oh, thank you. Good morning, Minnetonka. My name is Stacy Quinn, and I'm here with the Minnetonka Rotary Club. Thank you to the city and the mayor for a long history of partnership with the Minnetonka Rotary Club. I appreciate this opportunity to tell you who we are and what we do in this community. We meet at the Eisenhower Community Center every Wednesday at 7:15 a.m. Our club has just over 50 very active members from all walks of life. To be a Rotarian is to be service-minded. We share like principles and attitudes in regards to servant leadership. Our theme is building responsible youth, and it is also my personal Rotary story. You don't have to be rich, retired, or self-employed to be a Rotarian. In fact, I joined specifically because I was a working mom with 2 middle school kids. I wanted my kids to give back to this community by volunteering. Rotary is also a global community. With over 1.2 million members, as Rotarians, we want to make this world a better place. Our Rotary theme is Rotary Connects the World. Minnetonka Rotarians connect with our community every week. Our weekly speakers consist of local business owners, prominent city officials, and groups from all aspects of life. They come to speak to us about what they're doing to make this a better world to live in. I'd like to share with you a few of the service projects that our club is involved in on a monthly basis. Loaves and Fishes. The Byerlys and Lunds in Ridgedale for the Holiday Cart Roundup. Maybe you've seen us there. Our partnership with the City of Minnetonka and Summerfest, a true highlight of our year. Did I also mention that we are the club that is more fun than you want it to be? Many Hands, Many Meals. Bikes for Kids. The ICA Food Shelf on K-Tel. Books for Africa. And Resource West, just to name a few. We are also very proud of our history with the North Star Youth Exchange Program. We have been blessed with introducing many international students over the years to our Minnesota way of life, and in turn, we have learned from them. Currently, we have welcomed Pau from Spain. We're always looking for host families that want to be a part of this great experience. Another highlight from our Wednesday morning meetings can be putting on a hairnet and making, about 1,000 sandwiches in 30 minutes or less. This particular morning, we whipped up sandwiches for Alan Law, commonly known as the Sandwich Man. He's been delivering sandwiches to our youth on the streets for many years, and we were happy to lend a hand. Every now and then, we like to let our hair down and enjoy a pint at the local Minnetonka Brewery. This particular evening, we were fundraising to end polio. This is a very important campaign for Rotary International and our local club. The event was dubbed Pints for Polio, and we plan to be back at Unmapped soon. I hope you will join us. This year has been an especially important fundraising year in our campaign to end polio. World Polio Day is in October, and this year we had a very few dedicated Rotarians that were able to line up a private tour at Target Field with longtime Minnesota Twins curator, Clyde the Guide Doppner, for our Grand Slam to end polio now. So whether you enjoy pints or pitchers, picture yourself being part of the campaign to end polio now. Our Minnetonka Rotary Foundation is at the center of why we fundraise. Our largest event is our Links and Libations in the fall. The money we raise directly impacts local and international organizations to fulfill our mission of building responsible youth. And we have fun doing it. Minnetonka Rotarians have also adopted a stretch of road on Highway 7, over there by Famous Dave's. We are there, rain or shine, and sometimes snow. Once in the spring, and then again in the fall. We always seem to find some pretty interesting road debris. Last but not least, the Minnetonka Rotary Club has enjoyed a long and successful relationship supporting Empty Bowls. No doubt you have heard of Empty Bowls. This year it is Tuesday, March 10th at the Hopkins Center for the Art. It's about community, soup, and of course, bowls. I hope you can join us. So look for us out there in the community. We want you to consider becoming a Minnetonka Rotarian. We are the club for building responsible youth, and we are the club that is more fun than you want it to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Next, I'd like to introduce Shannon Full from the Twin West Chamber. She's the president there, and she's going to provide some chamber highlights.
Well, Stacy is a hard act to follow because I'm going to seem pretty boring compared to all of her fun photos. So I actually didn't bring slides. I just wanted to share with you just a few minutes about Twin West and the work that we're doing. For those unfamiliar with the Twin West Chamber of Commerce, we are a regional chamber of commerce that works very closely to help promote growth and prosperity throughout our 10 cities that we serve in the western suburbs. So we have about 700 members, businesses that are members, and our goal and our focus is to bridge the community and businesses together so that everyone can have the benefits of growth and prosperity. We focus on really four major areas. The first is around public policy, so a tremendous amount of not just the advocacy side of things, but the education side of things around federal, state and local legislation and how that affects our businesses, allowing businesses to weigh in on some of that. And so some of the issues that we've been working on for a long time, about 20 years, the Twin West Chamber has been actively involved in the Southwest Light Rail, which I'll talk a little bit about that. I know that's a piece that's very important to this group here. But other areas that we focus on are federal issues around workforce, education. We see a lot more now in the transportation space. A ton of it around how do we attract talent here to Minnesota and keep them here, because the number one challenge that we're hearing from our companies, whether they're small businesses or large businesses, retail or manufacturing, is the ability to attract and retain high quality talent. So we're working at how do we compare to other states in recruiting talent, but also once we have our talent here, how are we retaining them, and then the real focus of Twin West right now, and I'll get into that in our talented workforce space, is partnerships with our school districts. And we are really privileged and blessed to have strong relationships with our school districts. I see Rhoda as one of those partners here today. So the other 3 areas of focus for the Twin West Chamber are economic and community development. So this is an area that when I came on board 3 years ago, we've added a significant amount of public-private partnerships with cities. So we're working with cities to identify opportunities around building stronger relationships with our businesses. So going out and doing business retention calls, actually collecting data from those businesses around what are your greatest challenges, how can we help you to solve to those challenges, are you expanding, are you contracting, what are some of the great themes that we're hearing out there in the region. Doing that in conjunction, I believe very strongly in doing that in conjunction with the cities, so making sure that the cities also have the ability to leverage those relationships. The other component of that economic and community development work is really trying to identify what are the greatest community assets and how can we help to leverage those with our businesses. So really, truly in the vein of partnership. Our third component is a very important one. This is about small businesses and business excellence. So this is your typical, you think of a Chamber of Commerce, we're very much about networking and helping businesses connect with one another. So that interesting stat, about 69% of our members have 15 employees or less. So it truly is representative of the communities that you have with a significant amount of small businesses. So we have programs like peer-to-peer CEO roundtables that are very affordable for our small businesses so that they can interact with one another. Numerous different events. Next time I'm going to take a page out of Stacy's book and I'll bring you some great photos of all of our events that we have going on. But we do about 70 different events over the year. Some of them are continual events that we have every single month to keep connectivity strong. But we also are looking at how can we do individual customized approaches to helping businesses grow and prosper at the end of the day. So, and then the fourth component that I'll spend a minute talking on is talent and workforce. This is a very concerning topic for us, not just the fact that our individual companies need to find and keep high quality talent, but we're facing a major crisis in the state of Minnesota. So by the year 2025, the state of Minnesota will be 316,000 workers short to fill the demand in there. And so we think about where are we going to get these bodies, right? So, and it's in every sector. I just had a manufacturing roundtable where our manufacturers were talking about, on average, we've got 60% of our workforce retiring in the next 5 years, and we don't know how to backfill that. And as we all know, when that goes out, we lose a lot of intellectual property, intellectual capital as well. So one of the things we're doing is looking at working with partners like Greater MSP or the Minnesota Chamber to find out who's owning talent attraction for the state. How are we targeting certain areas around the country that have high concentrations of workers in the highest demand that we need so we can try to attract them here to the community. For us on a local level, the partnership that we're having with our school districts, so we have formed 6 public-private partnerships with our school districts. So Hopkins, Minnetonka, Wayzata are 3 of those. St. Louis Park, Osseo, and Robbinsdale are the others. And an interesting piece that we're doing with the school districts is we brought all the superintendents together and gathered some insight around if we were to be able to do more regional connectivity, what would that look like? So a couple things that we're doing that are really exciting, and I encourage you, if you're interested, let us know. We'd love to have you engage with us. One, we've regionalized some of the advisory boards. I thought this was a fascinating piece. Education really loves the opportunity to engage with business, both from a student standpoint, but also from a teacher, educator, professional development standpoint. And what we find is that our businesses need a streamlined approach to engage with schools. Opportunities for students, opportunities for teachers. You can imagine even with 6 school districts, it's difficult for businesses to navigate that. So we're trying to make that process easier through the work that we're doing. So we have a few different things. We've regionalized the advisory boards. I just met with a manufacturer that said, Shannon, we sit on 7 advisory boards, and it's very difficult for us to staff that. So can we make that simpler? The second piece is we've actually designed a technology platform. This is probably the coolest thing. It's called Elevate Futures. And what it does is it allows, right now the school districts are using it, some in greater capacities than others, but students are now able to take their handheld device, their computer at school, in their homes, and they're able to search through, we have over 1,200 video career cards, so if you're interested in different careers, you could look at, hear from those company leaders and talk about, this is my journey, this was the story, this is how I got to where I am, this is what this means. So by making it virtual, it allows for equitable access for all students. If you think about, from a diversity, equity, and inclusion standpoint, if you have really diverse family households, sometimes they don't have the same access to social networks and the abilities to build that as others do. And we want to be able to allow every student the opportunity to research career opportunities for their future. So we're really excited about that work. Southwest Light Rail continues to be a massive focus for Twin West and an involving matter. I see Dan Duffy's here. Dan's co-chaired our Business Advisory Council for the Southwest Light Rail forever, right, Dan? So, but now that we're in the construction phase of Southwest Light Rail, the biggest piece now is looking ahead. What do we need to do to make sure that Southwest Light Rail is successful? So some of the conversations we're having with Hennepin County, with we'll begin having with all of our local city partners, is how do we look at regional connectivity? So taking all of the jobs that are available now and into the future along the line, how do we market those to certain areas of the region, so downtown, north Minneapolis, those types of things. And then the other part of it is how do we also add more, shed more light on the development opportunities up and down the line. So the individual cities do fabulous jobs with that. We want to make sure that we're connecting that and doing some proactive outreach so that we get development, but we also get ridership along the line. So at the end of the day, we're really excited about the partnerships that are forming with Hennepin County, with the local individual cities, and with the school districts. We firmly believe that together we will be much stronger and we will prosper. So I look forward to, I did put on your tables a very interactive, there's just a couple of them on each tables, a very interactive session we're having with 30 teachers, 30 students, 30 parents, and business leaders and elected officials, all around career and technical education. That's happening next week, and it'll be a really interactive, solution-based work around that. If anyone's interested in attending and joining us, we'd love to have your voice at the table. So thank you for the time. Thank you for the partnership. Have a great day.
Thank you, Shannon. Now it's my great honor to introduce Mayor Brad Wiersum, who's going to present the 2020 State of the City. Mayor Wiersum has served on the City Council here in Minnetonka since 2003, first as the Ward 3 council member, and then since 2018 as mayor. He represents Minnetonka on a wide range of boards, regional boards and committees, and is presently serving as first vice president of the League of Minnesota Cities. In June, he will ascend to the presidency of the League. So it's, I'd like you to join me in giving a warm welcome to Mayor Brad Wiersum.
Thank you, Geraldine. Let's see, I want to make sure I can do this clicker. It works. Very good. Good morning, and thank you very much for being here today. My name is Brad Wiersum. I'm the mayor of Minnetonka, and it's a great honor to serve in this capacity. A couple of comments as far as the scheduling of this meeting. It's a little daunting coming the day after the State of the Union message. And I want to make two observations. One, you'll note that you don't have copies of my speech. and two, I promise you this will not last 78 minutes. So I also want to give you a little foreshadowing. The last page, or last slide you'll see has one word on it. The word is questions. And this is my third State of the City message. And I've had the same slide every time, and no one has asked a question. So I'm hoping that in 2020, we can do better than that. So transition, it's really another word for change. And we've had quite a bit of change. We have 3 council members who departed at the beginning of 2020. Bob Ellingson served the city as the Ward 1 council member for 16 years. And prior to that, and prior to moving to Minnetonka, Bob served in the Minnesota State Legislature. Mike Happy served 2 years as the Ward 3 council member, and prior to that, spent 8 years on the Economic Development Advisory Commission. Tim Bergstedt served nearly 40 years in a variety of roles, including mayor, Ward 4 council member, Planning Commission member, and Hopkins School Board member and chair. I am grateful for the service of these council members. It was an honor to serve with them. So we have new faces on the council, 5 of them to be exact. Susan Carter was appointed to fill a temporary vacancy created when Patty Acom was elected to the legislature. She was sworn in as an at-large council member in November following her special election victory. Brian Kirk won election in November as the Ward 1 council member. Rebecca Shack won her Ward 2 election after having been appointed to that position in 2018. Bradley Sheppy won election in November as the Ward 3 council member, and Kizzy Coakley won her election in November as well as the Ward 4 council member. Please join me in welcoming these new council members to the Minnetonka City Council. Just for reference, here is our ward map showing where each of our ward council members live and serve. So, what's happening in Minnetonka? And the answer to that question is there is a lot going on. Here are some of the new development projects that are occurring now. Avador is the project located in the southwest corner of the Ridgedale parking lot, right across Ridgedale Drive from the Hennepin County Library and Service Center. It is a 168, 55-plus apartment building targeted at active adults, many who have lived in the city and are downsizing and simplifying their lives. Trammell Crow is the developer. The Burke is the Doran project along I-394 in the Marsh Run location. It is 175 units of housing, 35 of which are affordable to residents who have 50%, an income that is 50% of the area median income. The Lux is an apartment building being built on Ridgedale Drive in the former Redstone site. It is an upscale 77-unit building. An Altitude Residence is a 78-unit apartment building on Jordan Avenue, which is near Cedar Lake Road and Highway 169. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Facility is moving to Minnetonka, and it will be on Hennepin County-owned property at the former Boys Home site. This is a state-of-the-art facility that will provide much-needed services to law enforcement and residents in Hennepin County and in the region. I am thankful to Hennepin County, who worked collaboratively with the city to site the building and minimize environmental impacts on this important parcel of land in our city. Rise Apartments are a 322-unit apartment project in Opus that has 10% of the units affordable at 80% of the area median income. And the Legends of Minnetonka and Preserve at Shady Oak are really 2 components of the same development. Together, they represent 482 units of housing and are being built by Dominium at Opus. That complex is 100% affordable at 60% of the area median income. The project contains both workforce and senior housing in roughly equal quantities. So that's a lot of development, a lot going on. The 1,700 units of housing under construction will provide housing to probably 3,000 to 4,000 residents. 34%, or 578 of the 1,700 units, are affordable. So that will house over 1,000 Minnetonka residents in affordable housing. There are over 500 new senior-targeted housing units. Southwest LRT, as Shannon suggested, will be transformative for Minnetonka from a transit, development, and economic expansion perspective. It makes our city in the region more competitive and attractive to current and future residents and businesses. It is a vital and transformative project for our city and for our region. We also welcome new businesses to Minnetonka, and our business community is strong and vital. Boom Island Brewing moved to Minnetonka on Baker Road on the southern edge of the city. And Boom Island is an existing successful business that was in northeast Minneapolis, but decided to move to Minnetonka because for a variety of reasons, and they needed a better location, and they have gotten off to a great start. And one of the interesting things too is it's the second brew pub in our city, and they work collaboratively, not competitively, with Unmapped Brewing, and really have created some opportunities. They also partner with LTD Brewing in Hopkins, and they've done some very interesting things to highlight, help one another grow in their business. So it's an exciting model. Untuck It is a new men's clothing store at our Ridgedale Center, and Cycle Bar is a new fitness business also located at Ridgedale. And then finally, F45 is a fitness training business located in the southwest corner of Plymouth Road and Ridgedale Drive. Now, these businesses reflect the continuing metamorphosis of the Ridgedale Center, from a retail center to more of a lifestyle center, featuring retail, entertainment, restaurants, housing, and fitness and recreation opportunities. Hobby Lobby just opened in the last couple of weeks. It is a new hobby superstore located in the former location of Toys R Us. And finally, Olive Garden is a new but familiar restaurant located on the property that formerly occupied Macaroni Grill. When I was walking around City Hall yesterday seeking some input on some of these new projects and developments, Ashley Cawley shared with me, I've gotten more calls about when is the Olive Garden opening than I received on any other development project since I've worked here. So people know Olive Garden and are very excited about it. We welcome these new businesses to Minnetonka and we wish them success. I urge you to check them out. Development and expansion of some of Minnetonka's most popular resources, our parks and trails, continues. City surveys of residents tell us that Minnetonka trails are among the most widely used and popular amenities in the city. Residents continually ask for expansions to the system. As is so often the case, the challenge is funding. To mitigate the gap between demand and available funding, the City Council last year passed franchise fees on your electric and gas service to provide a dedicated funding source to specifically pay for expanding the trail system. This decision was not without controversy. Some call it a hidden tax. While I do not believe it was hidden, there was considerable open debate, and I continue to talk about this decision publicly, including today. I will agree that it has more in common with a tax than it does with a voluntary user fee. I view this as a decision to invest in the amenities and infrastructure that Minnetonka residents clearly desire. Other new projects include, we have a new park going in at Ridgedale with connections to Crane Lake and expansion of recreational opportunities at Crane Lake. We have Ridgedale Drive improvements, including trails, walkability, and general beautification. The new north-south Plymouth Road Trail is completed and is open. The Ann Cullen Smith property is a passive nature preserve that is a beautiful piece of property, and I urge you to get out there and take a look. And then, of course, there is the Lone Lake Mountain Bike Trail, which was clearly a controversial project, but is an exciting project and is an investment into the youth of our city and into fitness, and frankly, to quote Senator Swadzinski, to get kids off their phones and outside doing things. And I'm very excited about that opportunity. And then we just recently reviewed in-depth open space planning for the Opus area. And Opus and Southwest Light Rail are going to transform significantly over the next 5 to 10 years. And the city is being very purposeful about its efforts to plan that and do it well. The biggest city project on the horizon is the new police and fire facility project. Work starts next month, and I believe completion is in 2021, I'm hoping. The public safety is job one for cities. And the new facility will enable our fire and police departments to continue to provide world-class service to our residents and to the region for the next 50 years. This project is a major investment into the future welfare of the city of Minnetonka. It will help to maintain the viability of our paid-on-call fire department model that provides high levels of fire protection service at a cost that is literally millions of dollars less than a full-time department. Now, this building is over a $30 million investment, which is higher than earlier estimates. However, I'm pleased to say that our recent bond sale was so successful and the rates were so favorable that the $25 million in bonds will cost us about $1.5 million less than we first anticipated. I just want to thank everyone for all of the work that they are putting in on this project. It has been a collaboration of police and fire and finance and facilities. Everyone is putting their shoulder into it on this project. It's a big project for the city, and I want to say thank you. So in addition to that, all of that, what exactly do cities do? Basic services are the foundation of the work of cities. There's a saying among people who work in cities, if you drink it, drive on it, or flush it, that is the work of cities. Now that's really a simplified view, but these basic services are fundamental. If we as a city do not do an A+ job of delivering basic services and maintain the infrastructure that provides them, the quality of life of Minnetonka residents declines noticeably and significantly. Now, there's a number of things listed there, and you're probably experienced with some of them, but I just want to call attention to one, and that is our senior services department. We have a great senior services program. And as I was looking at the many things and the many activities that go on here, I spent a little time at City Hall, and seniors are coming and going here all day, doing many, many things. Yoga classes, book clubs, this, that, and the other thing. I don't even know the whole list. But we did have a presentation the other day on a program that I think is very important. It's called Dementia Friends. And that is an outstanding program that reaches out to people who have dementia and their caregivers, and really focuses on the fact that when you have dementia, your life isn't over. It's different, but it's not over, and you should focus on the positive. And it provides coaching to people who know people who have dementia and don't know what to say. And the worst thing we can do is avoid people when we don't know what to say. So this is a wonderful program. I urge you to learn more. Steve Pye, who, by the way, was given the 2019 Spirit of Minnetonka Award yesterday, is our head of senior services, and he does a great job, and he is just a wonderful ambassador for that program. So let's just recognize Steve for his great work. I didn't tell him I was going to do that, and I just wrote that in this morning, but I thought it was important, so if I embarrassed you, I apologize. So Minnetonka is about leading the way, and how do we do that? And I want to say that one of the values that is so vital in our city is respect. And I believe that if somebody comes before the city council, or if somebody calls a council member up, or calls city staff up, or calls me up, they are going to be treated with respect. City council positions in Minnetonka are nonpartisan. And I think that nonpartisanship, particularly in the age in which we're in, is both fundamental and essential to being respectful and effective as city leaders. Council members do not always agree, nor should we. However, we focus on what we each believe is best for our city, not what some party tells us is best for us or for our city. And we do so respectfully. Our servants, if we do that well, our residents will be well served. Minnetonka is known for strong civic engagement. Every council meeting provides an opportunity for residents to speak on issues not on the agenda. Even though public hearings on development projects are formally held at the Planning Commission meetings, residents and others are provided the opportunity to address the City Council on development projects as they are considered. We are always looking for ways to increase and improve civic engagement. We implemented concept reviews for development projects. This gives residents a look at projects before a development project is even submitted to the city for approval. We also set up special engagement processes that bring together staff, residents, and developers to get together and consider options on projects that are significant or that have a potential to be challenging or controversial. We often bring in moderators to help with that process. We also believe in local control. Our residents are best served when decisions affecting them are made at the local level. However, there are issues that are broad in scope that should receive attention and action at the state or federal level. When that is slow to happen or does not happen at all, Minnetonka has been willing to step up and lead. Tobacco 21 and climate and sustainability are two examples where local leadership is vital. Minnetonka has long been a city that has provided strong regional leadership. Both staff and council members are involved with regional, state, and national governance organizations. Among them are the National League of Cities, the Metropolitan Association of Municipalities, the Metropolitan Legislative Commission, and the League of Minnesota Cities. There are many more, those are just a few. Sustainability and climate are vital issues, locally, regionally, nationally, and globally. The city of Minnetonka has an important role to play. We must lead on this critical issue, and we do. Thank you. We are taking action. 100%, we are 100% solar in 2020. 100% of the power being used in Minnetonka to light this building, to light the street lights, to light the stoplights will be solar in 2020. We are committed to Green Step Cities, which is a program developed by the League of Minnesota Cities, but it's a program that helps us move along the way of greater sustainability. We are at level 4. We have a program in Minnetonka in conjunction with Xcel Energy called Partners in Energy. And that is really going to help us put together an energy use and savings program in the city. But that is kind of a step along the continuum of our work on sustainability. We have a home energy squad, and we have energy conservation funding for our residents. We have organics recycling, and we do education and awareness building on this important topic. I am proud of the work Minnetonka has done, but is it enough? No, I fear not. While Minnetonka is not a significantly diverse community, we are becoming more diverse, and that trend will continue. If we hope to be successfully diverse, we need to be purposeful about being inclusive. Diversity of background, experience, race, gender, and origin builds strength. The Minnetonka Faith Community Outreach and efforts of the Minnetonka Police Department and our Community Engagement Officer, Scott Marks, are successful and meaningful initiatives. I am thankful for those efforts. The challenge is finding new, innovative ways to do more. These efforts are investments in our community. We cannot be satisfied until the most marginalized in our community are benefiting from our efforts and are thriving in our city. So, what's ahead? As I said a moment ago, work on diversity and inclusivity must continue. It is a journey, not a destination. There is always more to be done, and we need to be consistent and diligent in our work. Climate is another area where we can do a lot, but we need to do more. We will continue to challenge ourselves on climate action. After the Partners in Energy program is complete, we will likely move on to the next phases that include a written climate action plan and a task force or advisory group tasked with furthering the city's climate action work on an ongoing basis. The City Council has not taken action on that yet, but I anticipate that move in the fairly near future. Fiscal responsibility is the underpinning of the work the city does. Thank you. Getting all cranked up here. Our AAA bond rating enables us to do more than we would otherwise be able to do. It also makes our city work process-oriented and methodical. Numerous residents have asked me, why can't we just do what I want now? And now is a very popular word. The answer to that question is it takes policy action by the council, adequate staffing, and room in the budget. All of these components take time. While residents want us to be immediately responsive, the truth is that our residents and their diverse points of view are protected by the deliberate and methodical approach the city takes. We also need to tackle the challenging issues. And there are a few challenging issues listed here. We have touched on a number of them already. That second bullet, HATE, what is that doing here? It is a word that I am frankly trying to remove from my vocabulary. With the rise of anti-Semitism and intolerance across the country, this issue deserves comment in Minnetonka. We had an incident here in Minnetonka. You may have read about it. A Minnetonka resident was arrested for defiling the property of a church in our city. I raise this incident not to be ashamed, but to recognize that intolerance and injustice exist in our city, just as they do throughout society. I challenge myself and you to rise above these attitudes, to be welcoming, to be inclusive, to be open and friendly to everyone, but particularly to those who look, dress, worship differently than do you or I. We are Minnetonka. Everyone is welcome, and we strive to do it better. And I want to say, as I was looking at the Rotary Club slides, did you see the caption on the side of the van that said, "Love one another"? I mean, haven't we been told that before? Isn't that something that we could all learn from and work at practicing every day? So, you've seen this slide before. Last year, I showed a version of this slide, and the idea is that equality is a wonderful concept that is part of our founding fathers talked about it. But equity is more powerful and productive. We all benefit and are more productive in a city and a world that are committed to equity. Now take a look a bit more closely at this slide. There's a left side to it that points to equality and the right side that points to equity. Do more apples get picked where we focus on equality or when we focus on equity? You know, we are a more productive world that focuses on equity. And Minnetonka and all of us will be better off and more productive if we are committed to equity and justice. So I can conclude with a quote, and this is very appropriate, 3 days after the Super Bowl and the awarding of the Lombardi Trophy to the world champion Kansas City Chiefs. Coach Lombardi said, "Perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence." I believe that the city of Minnetonka is committed to excellence in all that we do, whether it is parks and recreation, or public safety, or utility building, or senior services and dementia friends. Let's chase perfection so that we can achieve excellence in everything we do for our residents. So thank you, and here's that last slide I promised. So thank you so much. So I will challenge you. Is there anyone who has a question? Yes.
Thank you, Mayor Wiersum. I'm going to break the circle of silence that apparently has surrounded this event for years. I'm not sure it's a question, but I'd like you to comment on your sense of the direction of Minnetonka as it pertains to development and housing. We moved here in '82. It was a typical single-family home, treed, parked, quiet-ish suburb. And as you well know, in the last 5 years, these high-density buildings are popping out of the ground like dandelions. And I'm not complaining, and I realize that we do need to progress and change. But clearly, the cityscape is changing dramatically, and I'd like you to just comment on where you think this is going to take us.
Well, thank you very much for your question. And there's a lot in that question. And as I went through the developments that are occurring in Minnetonka, I did not point to any specific single-family home developments. And we're a fully developed city, and we're a growing city. And as transit and transportation have improved, we're a much closer in city than we were when I moved here in 1982. And so as we look at the future, you're really dealing with the essence of the work of the city and the essence of the work of the city council. Because the one thing that we hear is people love Minnetonka and they love our neighborhoods and they want to maintain the character of our neighborhoods. And we hear that and we agree with that and we believe it. I can't speak for all my council members, I'll speak for myself. That has been a value that we've long held dear. But at the same time, we're a closer in community and we are going to grow. And they're not giving us any more land. So in those circumstances, there is going to be redevelopment. There will be lot splits of the few large lots that exist in the city. But the challenge is, where are we going to put the density that is required for us to grow, because the growth is coming? And fortunately, we do have some areas of the city that can afford to take density. And that's why you see development around Ridgedale and the transformation of that area. Opus is an area that is fundamentally changing, and there is a lot of development there. There will be more, but there also will be further development and further bigger buildings in areas that we call village centers around the city. Minnetonka does not have a downtown, but we have a variety of commerce areas that involve commerce and transit and a number of city facilities. And so what we are doing is we are focusing on those areas as being the opportunities for development. But we're trying to be very mindful and purposeful on that to maintain the character of our city while acknowledging that we are a desirable place to live and work, and that we are going to have to grow. And to do that, it is going to require some of the very types of buildings that you've mentioned. Thank you for the question. Anyone else? Yes.
Thank you, by the way. A couple things. First of all, I want to say thank you for not hiding behind the semantics of fees versus taxes when you were talking about the franchise fee. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
Specifically, though, with regard to the franchise fee, is there something set up in the law or the rule that established this to down the road, once they have either completed the 10 or the 8 projects that you were looking at, or have the funding to complete those?
You know, I think that is something that, and Geraldine, help me if I do this incorrectly, but, oh, excuse me, the question was about franchise fees, and is there a mechanism in the franchise fees that would require us to renew them when we get the projects that they're targeting done? And Councilmember Happy asked for us to do a look back, I think a couple years in. Did we agree to that? I don't think we did. So there is no formal look back, and it is always something that the City Council has the right to do. But I will challenge you that the franchise fees will raise $1.8 million per year for trail development. That's the good news. The bad news is if we looked at our priority list of trails, we have a $60 million backlog. So the need for a look back is something that is not going to occur in the particularly near future. So, you know, I don't want to make any promises I can't keep. So I would say the likelihood of a look back in the fairly near future is not very high. Anyone else?
I have a question. Thank you so much, Mayor Wiersum. There were a lot of really inspiring moments in the talk. I appreciate your future forward orientation. And as you know, in Hopkins School since 2017, we've been engaged in a strategic visioning process to redesign public education and to meet the needs of our students as they enter this rapidly changing world. We've been really intentional about centering student voice in that process, not for the sake of including students, but because we know that their insights when it comes to issues that are facing all of us, such as the climate, various social issues, political issues, that their voices are paramount and their insight is paramount. I'm wondering, as you're looking to the future of Minnetonka, what is the city doing to systemically include youth voice and the voice of younger generations who will be the residents of this amazing city that we've all built together? Thank you.
Thank you. So the question is, what is the city doing to engage young people in the work of the city? And I think it's a very valuable question, and it's one that I would like to see us do more. We do have on our park board, and I'm pleased to say that at the last council meeting, we just made an appointment of a student representative who also is the student representative to the Hopkins School Board, so you know him. And that has frankly been a challenging area for us to get young people to step up for opportunities in the city. But I think, you know, that's a problem and an opportunity that I think we can do more to do, and I'd be happy to talk with you more on that, because I think that in this challenging moment we are in our history, with many vital issues and questions around voter integrity and a lot of the issues that we face, we need to get young people more involved positively with government, and the best place to start is local government. So I'd be happy to have a conversation with anyone on that topic, because it's our future, it's vitally important, and as Shannon said in talking about the challenges we face, we are short of workers, and we need young, bright, engaged people to be interested in government as well as private industry, and we need to do everything we can to encourage them. And so I'll fess up and say, you know what, we need to do more. Thank you for your question.
We employ many of them.
Yes, and Geraldine points out to me that we do employ a lot of young people in our city, in our parks and recreation, and they do get connected, and throughout the city, and they do get connected with the city that way. But I want to be purposeful and strategic, and I think that's a topic we can put on the list for a strategic planning session that the city will be conducting for the city council in April, I believe. Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to address Jan's question too about involving youth in the Partners in Energy program. We have 2 Minnetonka high school students, plus we have a high school counselor for the 2 students on the program. So that's one way we're involving youth.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Thank you for that example, because I should have mentioned it. Thanks, Matt. Anyone else? All right, seeing no one, I'm not going to ask 3 times like do in a council meeting. I really appreciate you all being here. I think there's opportunity to mingle a bit and talk to our staff, and I think it looks like there's more food on the table. So thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to serve you.